Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt. We have a lot to talk about, including another heat advisory. Yeah, it's back. The heat advisory. It's going to be in place for many counties in the coverage area. Let's get right to it here and show you the areas being highlighted. That does include Jefferson, into Bibb, Perry, and also Blount counties. They're included. Now, East Alabama, where the counties are not highlighted because we're not expecting the heat index to jump to around 105. But if you're watching me in here, that heat index is going to top 100. It is going to be plenty hot out there for our Wednesday afternoon, so try to get an early start to the day. Still stay well hydrated. Hot, hot, hot. That is going to be the story. Let's walk you through the hourly feels like temperatures for hump day, and you can see there as we get into the afternoon, there's 12 o'clock, and we're showing 103 in Fayette, 101 in Anniston, 102 in Gadsden. Look at 3 o'clock. Whew. Yeah, Jasper there, 105, 101 in Clanton. Yeah, it is going to be toasty out there tomorrow. Still can't rule out maybe a shower or storm to cool some areas off, but most of us, well, we're going to be feeling that heat out there. So where do we get the rain? The award winners for today. Well, the areas that got the wet weather, Marion County. Look at some of those storms that moved in, even some more rain today, some areas to the north, but a lot of these locations have been missing out. It's interesting, the areas that's been missing out on the rain got most of the wet weather last night. You can see those storms that moved on through. There was a big lightning producer moved through Warrior early in the morning hours around Kimberly, so may have woke you up early in the day. I can promise you tonight we'll rest much easier because we won't have quite as many storms keeping us up watching the radar during the overnight hours. But there's a look at the latest, and the showers and storms have dissipated. I was noticing some more stormy weather around the Atlanta area, so that could impact some of those flights trying to get out of there. I know often at times it's very tricky here in the summertime. You get a delay and then it causes even further backups, but there's been quite a few storms there happening around the Birmingham or the Atlanta airport area, but things are pretty quiet here around Birmingham. Let's show you the hourly for this evening, and yeah, still got that 20% chance of rain in there, but I'm not seeing a lot. Most areas will stay dry. Looks like the overnight and into tomorrow, we're talking about few showers and storms, very muggy start to the day. The heat index by lunchtime for Wednesday, again closing in on 100, and we could see values top 105 in some areas during the afternoon. So hot weather for Wednesday, and actually that hot weather is going to come back later in the week and into the weekend. You know, hot's been the word. We've had record-setting heat, big time, all-time record-setting heat wave happening in Europe. It's around the globe in states west of here. We've been talking about some of that extreme heat happening in some areas, but we were going to dive more into that long-range forecast, go beyond the 7-day as we continue. And also coming up right here on First Alert Weather Extra, we'll check out the extended forecast and the severe storm threat for Thursday. And again, I talked about that hot weather and the changing climates. We get into more on these temperatures after this.
At West Shore Home, we pride ourselves on being the fastest and most convenient option for homeowners who are looking for a new shower or bath project. Today, Joe and I are going to look at some projects, why they're so popular, and how we can offer you some extra savings right now.
Yeah, well, Kirsten, the big question out there is why are so many people choosing to remodel their shower or bath right now?
Joe, right now homeowners across America are looking for ways to reinvest and build value in their homes. Replacing your shower or bath is a great way to do that. For folks who call in right now, we're offering some great savings with our 4th of July flash sale. You can lock in that price and get limited time long-term financing of 0% APR for 48 months. And on top of that, for anyone who calls in now, we'll take an additional $1,500 off your shower or bath project.
Wow, it seems like the price of everything else keeps going up, but you're saying for anybody that calls in now, they can lock in their price and get 0% APR for 48 months. That's amazing. Now, Kirsten, for a project like this, they probably have to put some money down, right?
They definitely don't. So many people think when they're going to do a project like this, they have to have thousands of dollars saved up for a down payment. That's simply not the case.
So you're saying they can start their project now and not have to worry about paying anything out of pocket. That's incredible. Now, a lot of people might be wondering, what do one of these projects look like when they're finished? Can you give us an example?
This homeowner wanted something that was safer and more accessible. We came in and installed a brand new walk-in shower. The best part is they were able to take advantage of our long-term financing, that 0% APR for 48 months. And just as a reminder, anyone who calls in right now can get an additional $1,500 off their project.
Wow, Kirsten, thanks so much, folks. It does not get any easier than this. This offer ends this week. Call in now to get 0% APR for 48 months. And for a limited time, they're taking $1,500 off every shower and bath project. Call West Shore Home now.
Welcome back to First Alert Weather Extra. I'm First Alert meteorologist Lauren Linehan. As Wes was mentioning earlier, it's not just us here in the U.S., but all across the globe, especially in parts of Europe. A heat wave has been ongoing for the past several days that has shattered records, not just in areas like England, but even to the European mainland. So this is certainly something we're watching closely, but even here at home, 100 million Americans are under a heat advisory, heat warnings from the West Coast to the East Coast.
Across the globe, scorching temperatures are causing major concerns as people struggle to find relief.
We are trying to avoid the extreme sun.
The United Kingdom bracing for even hotter temperatures after the national all-time heat record was shattered midday Tuesday, according to the country's National Weather Agency. Heathrow, home to London's main airport, recorded a temperature of more than 104 degrees Fahrenheit.
We've never had this kind of heat, so why would we be prepared?
In France and Spain, thousands have evacuated their homes as several wildfires rage throughout southern Europe. Here at home, more than 100 million Americans are under heat alerts that touch portions of more than 20 states. The worst of it centered over the plains and lower Mississippi into much of Texas, where heat warnings are in effect.
We need to be prepared for much more severe events happening much more frequently. And that, affects the emergency management system outside of just the city of Dallas, but at definitely the regional, state, and federal level.
Scientists say climate change is fueling the heat.
I think we just have to adapt, don't we? Our homes have to change, our way of life has to change, really, doesn't it?
I'm Chris Wynn reporting.
And if you recall, last night on First Alert Weather Extra, we were showing some new research from our friends at Climate Central showing in the year 2100, if we continue at our current rate of warming here in Birmingham, we could feel not like Texas, which we could feel like in 40 years, but the climate here in the summertime could feel more like Mexico. So certainly food for thought. Now we check in with meteorologist Matt Daniel, who explains more about the science of climate change and how that's impacting the heat wave.
All right, we've been talking about some significant heat across the United States, but the heat, that's been a big story elsewhere across the world. In fact, Europe experiencing some intense and record-breaking heat across that region. I want to show you from the latest outlook, or from the latest from NOAA, showing the June 2022 temperatures for Earth. And if you see the really dark red colors, seeing a lot of that in parts of China, just north of Australia and Europe, that's the record warmest. So we've seen a lot of heat across the world. And just to give you a perspective about that, it's the 6th warmest June on record, and it's almost a guarantee, a 99% chance that this year will end up in the top 10 warmest years on record as the Earth continues to warm due to the climate changing. By the way, Europe and especially the UK experiencing some significant heat waves, and there are some notable ones. One was back in 1976. They had an all-time temperature of 97 degrees. In 2003, that was a very major and significant heat wave, and 101 was the record. But now 2022, we've surpassed that by 3 degrees at 104. And you can see that picture on the top, June of 1976, where Europe experiences the record heat. Well, guess what? Yeah, that's just a little area. A good bit of the globe wasn't nearly as warm, but you can see the noticeable changes in the colors with the reds and the oranges for June 2022. So the Earth continues to warm. But let's talk about the record heat in the UK. The heat continues across the region. We got an update showing it was the first ever red extreme heat warning issued for the UK. They've never issued that before. They were experiencing temperatures getting close to 40 degrees Celsius. And in case you want to know what that is, we're talking about over 100 degrees there, which is very unusual because guess what? In the middle of July, Normally, their high temperatures are in the 70s. There's a lot of people there that don't even have air conditioning to keep them cool. So back in 2003, we had 20, 30, 40,000 people in parts of Europe that passed away from heat-related illnesses. And that's the main concern going into this week in parts of Europe. With this extreme heat, we're likely going to see more of that, unfortunately. And look at Portugal and Spain a few days ago. They had spots recording highs around 115 degrees Fahrenheit. So that is crazy. But yeah, in parts of London this afternoon at 12:50, the local time for them, they recorded a 40.2 degrees Celsius, which is about 104, which is the hottest they have ever seen. And their records go back, by the way, 1650, 1700s. So that's quite impressive there. And here's another perspective. This is from a UGA professor, Marshall Shepard. He was one of my former professors there. He's just wrote this perspective in case Twitter Tech or Old School Institute says it's just summer. It's supposed to be this hot. Well, records from record-breaking heat wave that killed 30 to 40,000 in Europe in 2003 are being obliterated. So you can see the normal summer weather where it peaks, and then you see that little arrow where there's no red there. That's where the extreme heat is happening right now. So we know the Earth is warming, but we're continuing to see bigger waves, more rounds of it, becoming more extended, and those temperatures continue to heat on up. And when you have dry conditions and a lot of heat, there's also a concern of wildfires all across parts of Europe. And you see those little yellow areas in parts of Spain, even into France, seeing a lot of wildfires all across Europe. And here's some of the video from their firefighters are having to battle the heat, the flames. There's a lot of people, properties are being destroyed. You can see homes completely burned. And it's just impressive. Look at all those wildfires showing up through there. So this has been a huge issue across the area with those wildfires. So the heat, we're going to continue to monitor that across Europe. It should start to cool down a little bit for the UK going into tomorrow. But this is a big story, and I'm sure we're going to continue to hear more about the heat and the wildfires there over the next several weeks.
Thanks for that, Matt. And you know, a lot of people will be like, well, the climate, it's always changed, right? And yes, it has. It has changed for eons, basically, for millions of years. You go through periods of cooling and warming. The problem with this change that we have been seeing since the Industrial Revolution is that change is exponential. So it's an increased rate of warming that's very concerning. So Matt was mentioning there the wildfires that have been in parts of Spain, but we also have been seeing some wildfires burning from this heat wave across parts of Greece. On Tuesday, neighborhoods in the north region of Athens were issued evacuation orders due to severe winds and flames that caused more than 75 firefighters, 22 fire engines, and 16 aircrafts to battle the flames together. And of course, we've been no stranger to wildfires here back home in the U.S. across the West Coast. But on the East Coast yesterday, up in the Big Apple, it was a wet and wild Monday in New York City. Heavy rain flooded parts of the city, both above and below ground. As you can see in that video there from a cell phone, one subway station in Manhattan shows water gushing in and leaking from the ceiling. I mean, riding a subway underground can probably be a little intimidating anyway, but then you add in that rushing water. Certainly not a great time. But the situation above ground wasn't much better. You had cars stuck in pools of water lining the streets of the Bronx. And as we always tell you, turn around, don't drown. But okay, we have flooding. What does that have to do with climate change? Well, what can happen is when the earth warms, when you have warm air, it is able to hold more moisture. So if you're having extended periods of temperatures running above average, that's extended periods with warmer air in place. And if warmer air can hold more moisture, then you think, okay, then we can have more rain. And so that is a concern if we continue to see these exponential rates of global warming, that we could be seeing some heavier rainfall events. And goodness knows here in central Alabama, especially here in Birmingham, in these urban areas, we certainly would not want to see that. So we'll always be keeping you updated on the climate here on Weather Extra. Coming up though, we check back in with Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt for a look at the 7-day forecast, and meteorologist Jill Gilardi takes us beyond the 7-day.
When 6 on Your Side investigates, the issues that directly impact you matter most to us. This is why 6 on Your Side investigates.
These are your mornings, and Good Day Alabama is built to start them right. The only station staying local on all platforms all morning long. Prepare for a good day. Prepare with Good Day Alabama.
When 6 on Your Side investigates, the issues that directly impact you matter most to us.
That's why we're getting answers on rising prices and how you can save some money.
How events nationwide are affecting you here at home.
WBRC Fox 6 is always here on your side, ready to help. This is why 6 on Your Side investigates.
In a season of constant change, when you need to know first, when you need to prepare, only one team gives you the first alert. A trusted team staying ahead of what's next in your neighborhood. Stay alert. Stay with the First Alert Weather Team.
When 6 on Your Side investigates, the issues that directly impact you matter most to us.
Being another set of eyes looking out for your kids and your family.
This is why 6 on Your Side investigates.
Live, new, and on your side. Beginning at 9 p.m., WBRC Fox 6 News breaks down what you need to know before anyone else on your favorite platforms every night. WBRC Fox 6 News at 9 and 10. On your side.
When 6 on Your Side investigates, the issues that directly impact you matter most to us.
That's why we're getting answers on rising prices and how you can save some money.
This is why 6 on Your Side investigates.
How will the weather impact your roads? The First Alert Weather app has live traffic updates and road conditions for a safer commute. This is why we First Alert.
WBRC Fox 6 News. On your side.
All right, welcome back. Our forecast, well, the next couple of days, we're going to go from one extreme to the other. Tomorrow, the heat is the big story, a heat advisory back, and then we get to Thursday, and we've got the storms and the showers increasing, and some of those storms Thursday afternoon could be severe, so make sure you stay tuned as we give you that first alert. If we notice anything, we'll certainly let you know any severe weather. Friday, Saturday, rain chances backing off this weekend. Highs in the 90s for Saturday and Sunday, overnight lows in the 70s, and into early next week, we're going to maintain that chance for a few afternoon pop-ups. Very seasonal weather in the next week, and Saturday and Sunday temperatures there running above average, and the heat index will be above 100, but at least not a complete washout if you have weekend plans. Here's a look at that heat advisory that's in effect, and Birmingham included in this, as well as Aniana, places like Nectar, and back in there towards places like Altoona included. There's Bibb County and Perry counties and points to the west. We've been watching this heat back into Mississippi and areas west of here. These are actually areas under extreme heat advisories back to the west there. Feels like temperatures near 105 in the highlighted zones, but areas further east, if you're watching me, Cherokee, Cleburne, back to Randolph County, even all the way over into Georgia, areas will be feeling the 100 plus heat index. That's going to be a big story, but the rain chances temporarily kind of backing off for the overnight hours. Last night it was rather stormy. There are some indications here that there might be some isolated development this evening. We'll continue to watch a radar, just not seeing a lot. Most areas will stay dry, and same situation overnight. In the early morning, maybe some morning low clouds and maybe a couple sprinkles out there early in the day. There's 11 o'clock. Notice some of the new data showing maybe north of Hamilton in there we could see a shower. And actually in the morning we had some heavy rain. Hamilton, Hackleburg. I had some folks messaging me from Bear Creek talking about some downed trees during the early morning from those storms. Brought some gusty winds. There's going to be some fog in a few of these areas, so watch out for that early in the day. Check in with Toy tomorrow morning. There's probably going to be some traffic alerts. 3 o'clock Wednesday afternoon, and yeah, not seeing a whole lot out there, so plan on watering tomorrow, but also plan on staying well hydrated yourself, because it's going to be hot again with the heat index really staying in that triple-digit range well on into the evening hours there for many areas. But the changes come on Thursday. It's still going to be a hot day Thursday, but we're seeing indications that we do have another trough moving in here, and a pretty good chance we're going to see a good coverage of showers and storms. That's showing 5 o'clock, so I'd really watch out there for the possibility, again, maybe some strong to severe storms marching southward, some intense lightning, locally heavy rainfall, some damaging winds. Not the kind of setup that will bring tornadoes, but when we look at those impacts, typically with something like this, what we call a mesoscale convective system, that's possible. We could see an organized cluster of storms try to move south. If not, we will see quite a bit of coverage there, at least initially, as those storms start to come together. Frequent lightning, maybe some large hail with some of those storms as well. So watch out Thursday. We may actually bump that rain chance up a bit based on what we're seeing here. But this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, again trending drier. And then next week looks very seasonal with those showers and storms during the afternoon hours. High temperatures in the mid-90s. And meteorologist Jill Gilardi standing by. And Jill, things quiet in the tropics right now. We've been watching what's going on there. I know we're just really getting going here, though. Hurricane season doesn't really peak until August and into September.
Yeah, I mean, I figured I would just leave with the heat because that seems to be the dominant thing with us. We're not seeing much of a change going forward. Still looking like 8 to 14 days out. The prediction is trending towards above normal temperatures. So what does that mean for potential highs for us? Well, our normal high is 91, and so obviously if it's above normal, it's going to be above 91. And some days, you know, we could be seeing that century mark, not out of the question. The other question is, though, when you have this high of heat, will there be muggy air in place as well? And could that lead to, you know, an excessive heat warning, something we haven't seen around this area in quite some time. We've seen a lot of heat advisories, so we'll be watching for that in the long term. Now, in terms of rainfall, the little adjustments today for the 8 to 14 day outlook, maybe some dryness down to the southeast, or maybe a slightly above normal chance across the northern part of the state. Otherwise, just kind of equal chances, average in the middle. And as we were talking about with the hurricanes, we're seeing it more active down towards the Pacific, but I'm not seeing anything going long term that catches our attention, that looks organized, that looks tropical of any means, other than what's happening that's not going to impact us down across the Pacific. So again, things are looking quiet across the tropics. Locally, though, we are tracking little disturbances that will move on through. As Wes was talking about, we'll be watching Thursday evening in particular for storms, but the big story in the short term is the heat. So find ways of staying cool. Wes?
All right, Jill, and we know you'll be watching that long-range data. We'll be keeping an eye on it. It's nice to see that, you know, we actually got some rain in some areas last night that's been in that drought situation. I mentioned earlier the skeeter meter, and if you haven't done so, you do a little yard work over the next few days. Of course, try to get out there when it's cooler. Make sure if you see any flower pots, anything in the backyard maybe still holding on, retaining some of that rainwater, be sure to empty any containers out, because the mosquito forecast, it looks like over the next week or so, still in that very high category. All right, and by the way, that's for mosquito activity, but always a good reminder anytime after you get some wet weather out there. But will we see more rain for the end of the week? We'll check in on that 7-day forecast again. Also check in with Mickey as we continue right here on First Alert Weather Extra.
At West Shore Home, we pride ourselves on being the fastest and most convenient option for homeowners who are looking for a new shower or bath project. Today, Joe and I are going to look at some projects, why they're so popular, and how we can offer you some extra savings right now.
Yeah, well, Kirsten, the big question out there is, why are so many people choosing to remodel their shower or bath right now?
Joe, right now homeowners across America are looking for ways to reinvest and build value in their homes. Replacing your shower or bath is a great way to do that. For folks who call in right now, we're offering some great savings with our 4th of July flash sale. You can lock in that price and get limited time, long-term financing of 0% APR for 48 months. And on top of that, for anyone who calls in now, we'll take an additional $1,500 off your shower or bath project.
Wow, it seems like the price of everything else keeps going up, but you're saying for anybody that calls in now, they can lock in their price and get 0% APR for 48 months. That's amazing. Now, Kirsten, for a project like this, they probably have to put some money down, right?
They definitely don't. So many people think when they're going to do a project like this, they have to have thousands of dollars saved up for a down payment. That's simply not the case.
So you're saying they can start their project now and not have to worry about paying anything out of pocket. That's incredible. Now, a lot of people might be wondering, what do one of these projects look like when they're finished? Can you give us an example?
This homeowner wanted something that was safer and more accessible. We came in and installed a brand new walk-in shower. The best part is they were able to take advantage of our long-term financing. That's 0% APR for 48 months. And just as a reminder, anyone who calls in right now can get an additional $1,500 off their project.
Wow, Kirsten, thanks so much. Folks, it does not get any easier than this. This offer ends this week. Call in now to get 0% APR for 48 months. And for a limited time, they're taking $1,500 off every shower and bath project. Call West Shore Home now.
Hey, let's start out with this time lapse. Now, Wes showed this yesterday. However, we slowed it down just a little bit more. And you can see this thunderstorm approaching. Look at the dust coming up right ahead of that thunderstorm. And then, of course, the rain coming into play. And we can check out, this is a view from Kim Smith from downtown Moody yesterday. I believe Kim's daughter was a weather kid, if I'm not wrong. So that's coming in from Moody. And this is from Marie Gilreath. Storm moving into Opelika yesterday. So our weather watcher rainfall totals, we saw pretty significant rainfall there into Trussville, 2 inches of rain there, 1 3/4 inches into Gadsden, and 1/2 inch for Lincoln on into Concord, and a little bit less than that in Pell City and other areas. So these are projections on radar, a decent amount of rain there, especially look at the Coosa River here into Etowah County. So it was coming on down near Neely Henry Lake and Coosa River and Asheville at a 1.13 inches, and not as widespread there into Clay County and to Birmingham up through Fultondale, close to 1 inch in several areas, and a little further to the south, about 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch, and then it worked out to a trace to 1 inch in other areas. So those are some of the breakdowns for you. Now this is average monthly rainfall for July. Into Birmingham, we typically get 5.5 inches, and we've seen just shy of 4 inches so far into July. A little bit over 4 inches there into Tuscaloosa. So far, we've received almost 2 inches of rainfall, and not quite the 4.6 that we typically see into Anniston. But you know, we're still, we made up a lot of ground here yesterday, and we could see some more storms, especially as we get into Thursday, so we could see another round of heavy rain and thunderstorms. If you do want to take a video or a picture of those thunderstorms from a safe location, you can do so on your First Alert weather app, or just monitor the weather app, lets you know where the storms are and if you need to take cover. So that's a handy dandy tool for you, and it's absolutely free.
Great tool to have there, Mickey, as we check out our forecast here. Let's bring up the 7-day forecast. Again, tomorrow, heat advisory, a first alert for hot weather. Thursday, still hot, but a better chance for storms to look out for during the afternoon. Friday and into Saturday, rain chances are still there, but start to back off again. And you can see the temperatures reflect the lower rain chances. We're rising well above the average, and a pretty good chance for that heat index. Once again, we'll probably see some more heat advisories as we get in closer to early next week, but we'll walk you through that updated forecast tonight. We'll have some new model data to share with you, talk about where we could see a couple of those isolated pop-ups tomorrow, and that is after baseball. That is live right now on WBRC. We'll see you after the game on